YouTube, y'all, we come with 3 unsettling true prom night horror stories, bro. No cap, I'm not even gonna lie. I seen like 3-4 stories of people dying on prom night. Shit is crazy. Like, if y'all, like, prom should be over with by now. School should be finna get out if you're not out already. But look, like, if y'all going to prom or have been to prom, nigga, be safe. Like, damn. Like, especially if you driving, don't drink and drive. That's number one. Don't text and drive. Don't do like if you gotta question it, don't do it. That's the most simplest thing I can tell y'all. But welcome new subscribers, new people. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Let's go. Oh yeah, fun fact, I never been to prom. Fun fact. Story 1. Let go. Yeah.
It was senior year. I had just recently started dating my fiance Mark. We were approaching the end of the school year, and so prom was coming up.
Okay.
I didn't really know if I wanted to go because I had just finally changed all of my contact info, and my family moved to a new house because of my old stalker ex Daryl, who's 4 years older than me. I was 18 and he was 22. We met when I was going through a rough time in my life. Long story, but he turned out to be a psychotic asshole.
Wait a minute.
He got kicked out.
Wait a minute. How old was you?
Than me. I was 18 and he was 22. We met when I was.
How do you even find these people? Like, how do you find? Hold up. That's 4 years older. That nigga, what the?
Going through a rough time in my life. Long story, but he turned out to be a psychotic asshole. He got kicked out of the army and started doing hard drugs like heroin. I distanced myself from him as much as I could, but he was relentless. He attempted to break into my family's home at least 3 times, and I had to get a restraining order against him.
That wop was crazy.
But my family was worried for me, and for all of us, so we had to move to another house. The reason I was hesitant about going to prom was because I knew my ex Daryl knew about it. We used to talk about going to my prom together. Ever since our move, my friends would drive me home and make sure we weren't followed. I really lived in fear. I was scared Daryl would show up to the prom venue and try to find me. Mark has always been very understanding and supportive, and he assured me he wouldn't tell me to go to prom if he didn't think it would be safe. He made me feel comfortable with it. We and our friends went in a limousine together to the venue, which was a fancy catering hall about 30 minutes away. We all sat at our table and had food and just hung out for a while. Some people went to dance, Mark and I included, for a while. I couldn't help but be paranoid for a while that Daryl was in the building somehow. One of Mark's friends handed
me personally, I'm not living my life in fear though. If I got a question, if I'm getting stalked, can you get like a restraining order? I don't know the terms and conditions to get a restraining order. But if it's that bad, then get a restraining order. 2, I'm not finna let you rule my life. I'm finna have either you doing something or I'm finna do something. Cause you playing with my life. Like, you stalking. Look. Somebody gonna have to. It's not gonna be me. Somebody gonna have to die, and it's not me. I promise you.
Gave me a little shot bottle of vodka and told me it would calm my nerves.
That's it?
I drank it in the bathroom and almost threw up, but within half an hour, it really did take the edge off. A few hours later, our group wanted to leave for what's called the after prom, where you basically start drinking and continuing the party elsewhere with your friends. As we walked outside of the venue to our respective rides, I saw one car parked in front of the venue that didn't have its lights on. I didn't know what Daryl drove at that point, or if he drove, but I saw someone sitting in it. They had a baseball hat on and were looking down, so I couldn't see their face. I pointed it out to Mark. He told me to relax, there's no way it's him. We got in our friend's car who was picking us up, and we drove to our friend Melissa's house, who was having a little after party. The whole ride, I kept looking behind us, seeing if we were being followed, but I couldn't tell because there were so many cars on the road. I remember Mark whispering to me, relax, everything's fine, and he held my hand, and it helped calm me down so much. We arrived to Melissa's house, and there were already people at her house. At the peak of the night, I'd say there were 20 people there, and everyone was drinking. Eventually, Mark and I wanted to go home, so Mark called his sister to come pick us up, and when she got there, we went straight out to her car. I looked around the street for any sketchy-looking cars, but didn't see anything.
Damn,
and at this point, I officially convinced myself I was just being paranoid.
You tripping.
Mark's sister drove us back to their house where I would be sleeping over. It was just his mom and his sister home. His dad is a retired cop, but he was still working at the time, and he was working a late shift that night. His mom was already asleep. It was very late. Mark and I just went downstairs to his room to crawl into bed. The
Yeah.
whole den floor of the house was his floor. It had a mini kitchen, and bedroom, and living room.
Okay.
His floor was level with the backyard, and so it had a back door. It was a warm night, so some of the windows were cracked open. We were watching a funny movie. That was when we heard a bang on the glass door that led to the backyard. The sliding curtain was covering the doors, so we couldn't see who or what did it. I shrieked, and Mark jumped up to open the curtain. No one was on the other side, but there was a post-it note slapped on the door with the word bitch on it. He found me. He followed me from the prom to Melissa's house to here, and he probably...
Son. Like me personally, I couldn't go through this. Like, man, I would have just walked outside with the little, you feel me? This is on GTA, by the way, on GTA, cause you know I don't need this video, to get blocked partially. Hey, I'm talking about GTA. I would have went out my house with the Glock. And you know, like, cause what are we doing? Cause like you so bold. Like, I don't understand. You so bold to come to my house, but you not bold to make a move. It don't make sense. I thought this is chess, not checkers. Make a move. I'm waiting. Look. Whatever move you make, I already thought about it. You're not winning. I'm already 5 moves ahead of you, buddy.
He heard me laughing and knew I was down here. My paranoia was right all along. We went upstairs to Mark's mom's room and woke her up, then called Mark's dad and the police. Waiting for Mark's dad and the rest of the police to arrive felt like an actual eternity. When the doorbell finally rang, followed by loud knocks, Mark and his mom went to go answer the door. It was the police. I had to explain the whole story with my ex, and the restraining order, and now being followed by him here. They asked if there were any cameras on the property, to which Mark's mom said no. Then they asked me if I had any texts from him, or if perhaps I knew where he lived. I told them I didn't have his number anymore, and I had no idea where he lived anymore either. Mark's dad finally arrived on the scene. I took the post-it note from the door home with me to try and compare it to other handwriting from Daryl, and it definitely matched. Mark's dad gave me a ride to my house in his police car so that we could be sure I wouldn't be followed. During the ride home, I called our home phone and my dad picked up. I cried to him into the phone hysterically. After arriving home, my parents were waiting in the front for me. Mark's dad assured my parents we weren't followed. During this period...
Yo, I don't know what, bro. This reminded me of like a story when I was talking to like a girl, bro. And she had like a stalker ex, bro. This nigga hacked into the girl phone, right? And the whole time, I'm thinking it's her, you feel me? So we just talking, right? This nigga, bro, the whole time I was talking to a dude for pause. Man, bro, this man was asking me all type. I knew it was something suspicious because I'm like, why you asking me these type of questions? And then she already told me about bro before. I'm thinking like buddy in the story. I'm like, man, I'm not worried about this. So whole time, bro know me, I don't know him. Man, that shit made me so mad, bro. Me personally, I stopped talking to both of them. I said, you know what, bro, had that, cause ain't no way, man. Ain't, cause why? One, cause there was too many questions I had that you feel me? So I had to dead that, cause that was,
Mark and I couldn't go to each other's houses. Mark's parents had security cameras installed the same week, and this next part is truly unbelievable. One of the side cameras on their property picked up motion, which alerted Mark's dad's phone. He grabbed his gun and ran outside to the smell of gasoline. He followed the smell until he heard the sound of liquid being poured out of a can, and there he saw Daryl pouring out gasoline on the sides of their house.
Whoa!
With his gun drawn, Mark's dad yelled at him to drop the can and put his hands up.
Ain't no yelling.
That was the...
What are you yelling? Bruh. What are you yelling for? What are you talking about? You see a man pouring gasoline. Look. There's nothing to explain. I'm shooting. There's not look. I ask you questions after I shoot you in your arm or your leg. I might shoot. Nah, never mind. I'm shooting your kneecap. Cause what? Talk about no. You're playing. Cause what if I didn't come outside? If I didn't come outside, I would have been inside burning to death. No.
The moment Daryl was no longer going to be a threat to my or my loved ones' lives.
Nope.
I call it the sweetest justice that my future fiance's cop dad was the one to arrest my psychotic ex-boyfriend who ruined so many years of my life and had me living in worry.
Yes, sir.
He was sentenced to over 30 years for his crimes, the worst of which, of course, was attempted arson on a police officer's house.
Ooh, that's crazy. What do you even know? Story 2, y'all. Story 2.
It was 2017. I was 17 getting ready for prom. And of course, girls have it harder because instead of the guys who just rent the same tuxedos, girls have to find a nice dress that they're going to keep. And of course, prom dresses aren't cheap, if you want a nice one at least. My parents didn't want to spend over $200 for a prom dress, so my mom suggested I look online for a used one. She'd even help me. We scrolled on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, which had just become a thing back then and wasn't as popular as it is today. There wasn't really any luck on Facebook Marketplace, so we mainly searched Craigslist. We found a listing for a dress that we both liked. It was a navy blue evening gown, $50. It said it was worn once for prom. The seller lived pretty close too, so I contacted the number listed on the listing, and in under 10 minutes, I got a text back.
Where are we?
After expressing my interest and asking a couple sizing questions, the person offered to come to our house to drop it off to us.
To my
But
house?
my mom said no to having someone from Craigslist come to our
Oh,
house.
God.
So I said we'd come to them that day.
Not
I
even
asked
that.
for their name and they said Alex. Honestly, I assumed that Alex was short for Alexandra. My mom offered to come with me. I felt more comfortable if she'd drive me. When we got to the address, it was a townhouse in a congested area of town. The townhouse was on a dead end. My mom asked if I wanted her to come in with me, and honestly, I don't know why, but I thought it would be embarrassing to go in with my mom. I asked her to just wait in the car unless I text her.
You smoking?
I texted Alex, and then I went to ring the doorbell. I noticed all the blinds on the windows were closed, which was strange. It was the middle of the day.
I guess
The door opened, and instead of some young girl around my age opening the door, it was an actual grown man, like 50 years old. He smiled and asked if I was here for the dress. I said, "Yeah, are you Alex?" And he said, "Yeah." He said I looked just like his daughter, and then said,
Sir, bring that hoe to the door. Sir, hell nah. I'm staying right here. I'm not moving. What? What? Come in. Man.
"Come inside." I looked back at my mom's car and then went inside the house.
Nah, Ma,
He said
come
I
here.
should be a perfect
Come
fit
here.
for the dress.
No.
He said he'd go get it, then disappeared into another room. The living room was dark and kind of messy. I took out my phone and texted my mom to come to the front door. Then the man called out from a room for me to come inside and try the dress on in front of a mirror.
Nigga.
I asked him if he could bring the dress out to the living room. He said there's no mirror in the living room, and I replied that I'd just like to see the dress first.
Oh my, nigga, what?
He left the room and entered the living room empty-handed, and said the dress is on the bed in the bedroom if I want to go look at it. I once again asked him to please just bring it out here.
I don't even want
Then
to.
a knock at the front door. Alex said, "Who is that?" And I opened the door to my mom stepping inside. She smiled and said hello to the man.
Oh ma.
And he took a couple seconds to say hello back,
Oh ma,
but without
nigga.
a smile.
What's up? What's
Now
up?
I walked to the doorway of the bedroom, and as I did, he made a noise as if to say, "Don't go in there." I looked into the dark bedroom, and there was no dress on the bed. My mom was in the middle of asking a question when I interrupted and said, "There's no dress." There was a painfully uncomfortable and tense silence, and then the man said, "I'd like you to leave now." My mom and I, without hesitation, left to the car.
What?
By the time we were in the car, the front door was already closed, and I saw the man peering through the kinked blinds. We were both in shock. If my mom hadn't come in, I don't know what would have happened.
Nigga, you know.
I reported the Craigslist ad.
You know.
We didn't call the police, though, because there was really no proof of anything, and technically nothing happened. But there was no blue dress in that room.
Bruh.
He was just trying to get me into that room, and when my mom came in, he couldn't exactly do that anymore. Thank God I listened to my mom and didn't give him our address. I ended up getting a used dress shipped to me. That prom night, I told everyone this story, and it's still kind of haunting even today.
Wow. That's Craigslist for you. He tried to get some prom booty. That's crazy.
In our high school class, there was a kid named Joshua that moved to our high school during freshman year,
Yes, sir.
so I guess he had a hard time breaking into any of the
Shout out my boy
established
Josh,
friend
yeah.
groups. He had a few friends here and there from what I know, but he wasn't part of any particular groups.
He
But then
valid.
something really awkward happened one day during lunch.
Like what?
I had already asked my date Natalie to prom, and she said yes. At lunch, we had a table of mixed guys and girls, and Natalie was at the table. Here came Joshua from whatever table he was sitting at, and like an awkward scene out of a movie, he tapped Natalie on the shoulder and asked her to prom. The whole table went silent except for one kid who cheered sarcastically. Then Natalie laughed in clear discomfort and said she's already going with me. I felt the secondhand embarrassment. Joshua looked at me, and I didn't know what to think of the stare he gave me, but I could tell he was humiliated. He left without saying a word, and everyone laughed loudly. It was a horribly uncomfortable scenario all around.
School is cruel.
While I felt bad, I couldn't help but slightly laugh too. I mean, I have no idea what he thought was going to happen, especially with such a large audience of dudes at the table too.
Nigga, he didn't know.
We watched as Joshua actually left the cafeteria, and the teacher on lunch duty actually chased after him because you weren't allowed to leave without a pass. But Joshua never came back into the lunchroom. I still wonder where he went from there. On prom night, we had our group of 10 in the back of the limo. The same 10 of us sat at the table together when at the dance. Everything was going as prom should. But then, eventually that night, one of my friends told me, "Don't look now, but Joshua's at that table eyeballing you." I waited like 10 seconds before looking over, and I saw Joshua shooting a dagger at, I guess, Natalie and I. I decided I'd go talk to him.
Man, I thought Josh was cool, bro. Man, Josh one of those hating. Man, look, bro. She not going. Bro, there be a lot of hating people in the world. Like, bro. Like, people will see you doing in a good relationship, and they just trying to come fuck it up. Like, bro, I see people be telling like lies on people to mess the relationship. Like, if you look, I don't know if y'all listen to Rod Wave, but Rod Wave said, if you got something good, look, disappear. Because look, somebody gonna try to mess it up every time.
But as I walked over to him, he got up and hurried away out of the dance hall.
Scary.
That was super weird, but I wasn't going to chase after him. I went over to the table he was sitting at and asked a couple of the kids if they came with Joshua, and they said no. He kind of just sat there randomly and wasn't saying anything. I went back to my table, and like a typical high schooler, I told the whole table. It was definitely pretty freakish. After prom, Natalie and I left with a friend who drove to go to a diner to eat a bunch of breakfast food at like 12 a.m. After that, we went to our friend Anthony's house. He had a massive backyard right next to a nature preserve, and he had a really cool fire pit. So we all circled the fire pit with a speaker playing music and some drinks. There were 6 of us total. Anthony, sitting across from me, pointed out to the woods and said he saw something in the woods. We all looked over, of course.
Josh, come on now.
We looked at the woods for a while, but when we didn't see anything, Anthony basically said, "Aight, whatever." We continued to hang by the fire pit for a while. Eventually, one couple left, so it was just Natalie, Anthony, his date, and myself left. Anthony was mid-sentence when he stopped speaking abruptly. I said, "What?" And I turned around and saw someone walking towards the light of the fire from the woods. It was someone in a tuxedo. He said to us, "Don't get up." As he got closer, we realized it was Joshua. He was holding a hatchet or small axe.
Nigga, it's not even that
He looked
serious.
like he had been crying, but he also looked angry.
Bro, you can have
Anthony
her.
and I told him to please put the axe down and just talk. Joshua yelled at us to shut up, and he made us turn the music off. He began a rant about how soul-crushingly embarrassing what happened during lunch that day was.
You did it to yourself.
And how he had been too embarrassed to come back to school after that because he thought it had been spread all over the school.
Bruh,
But it
nobody
really
cares.
hadn't. And we tried to tell him that. Anytime we tried to speak, he'd scream "shut the fuck up" louder and louder, and he'd begin to raise the axe, kind of. He then directed his attention to Natalie and started going on about how he thought she was gorgeous, and that she would only make fun of him with her friends, which again, that never happened. All these things only happened in his head. During this time that he was talking to Natalie, Anthony was low-key and texted his dad something like, "Bring the gun to the backyard," making it clear we were in danger. Anthony's dad came out to the back door and yelled, "What's going on?" with his gun in his hand. Joshua stopped talking. I could see he was deciding in his head whether to run or not.
Nah, don't run, no.
He dropped the axe and ran back to the woods.
You so...
Anthony's dad came running over with his gun, and we all 4 of us couldn't tell him what happened quick enough. His dad said not to touch the axe, leave the fingerprints on it for the police. That hatchet, axe, whatever, was eventually the key to prosecuting Joshua after a few days.
Wow.
Joshua had already been arrested, and so his fingerprints were in the system, and they matched the fingerprints on the axe.
Damn.
But when all four of us decided we didn't want to press charges on Joshua, it was too late. By that point, he got charged criminally. Anthony's friend said it was for menacing in the 2nd degree. He didn't serve
That's
any
valid.
jail time. I found Joshua on Facebook shortly after this and reached out to him with a sincere message, not attacking him at all, and he read it. He never replied to it. I saw Joshua one other time in the halls that year. He didn't look at me. None of us ever saw him again after graduation.
Hey, that's valid. Man, look. I'm proud. Hey, just say about the way, Josh. You're like, at least you ain't serve no jail time, my boy. Look, they protect you on that. That's at least they could do. But like, man, see, a lot of people will crash out over a female. Chill out. Shit, like, bro. Once you get say you Joshua and you go to jail, bro. She's still with bro. She's still look. She's still talking to bro. She's still going to date. While you was sitting in jail for no reason, she's still kissing on bro. You like what was your plan? What was your plan? What, like, the execution is terrible. Like, just go home, think your life. Cause look, it's all starts in your brain. What you think up here comes out. I'm telling you. So you gotta make sure this up here is healthy. You know, don't, like, even if, like, say like your whole world messed up. Just go up in here, like, if you could change, like, say, like, I don't know, say your girl broke up with you, right, and instead of telling yourself you wasn't enough, be like, she just didn't see the greatness in me, like, you feel, like, you just gotta get, like, even if it's not right, you just gotta think it, like, I don't care what you gotta do, you that guy, you that girl, simple. But look, I love y'all, I'll see y'all next video, we out. Ugh.